We are back on the grind. I'm Kevin J. Mack, Exit 160 Entertainment, and for today's episode of the Daily Grind, I'm going to talk to you all about something that I learned today and how I used it to speed up my workflow when creating an illustration from pencil to ink to color using Clip Studio Paint. Stay tuned. Welcome back to The Grind, where we deliver new content every single week. My name is Kevin J. Mack, super dad by day, graphic artist by night. And if you are remotely interested in drawing, comics, and tutorials, you are definitely in the right place. In recent weeks, I've done a few drawing, inking, and coloring videos, but in my very short career as a young YouTuber, you always look to improve with every video that you post. And if you aren't aiming to become better, then shame on you. With that, if you haven't seen any of my previous videos, make sure you check them out. So for today's episode, I wanted to take a more strategic and focused approach to my process on how I come up with ideas from drawing superheroes, and not only that, how to speed up your workflow using keyboard shortcuts. What I've learned is that keyboard shortcuts are very important in getting work done faster when doing digital art. I'm going to show you some of the tools that I use, the different processes and steps, how to sketch, how to ink, and finally, how to color your image in Clip Studio Paint. This is going to be a 3-part video, so welcome to part 1. Once again, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. So it's almost Miller time, so let's get this show on the road. We're going to create a new document by hitting File, New. We're going to leave the name with the default. 11 by 17 with a resolution of 600 is going to be my dimensions, and then I'm going to hit OK. So a rule of thumb, if you have an older computer or a computer that doesn't have a lot of memory, you want to make sure that you keep your resolution settings low. 300 will be suited for you. Anything beyond that is going to be very taxing on your system. So just be aware. Few things that I like to do before I put stylus to display, and that is to make sure that my layers are labeled accordingly. So I'm going to break my image down into 3 layers. One for the rough sketch, the second will be for what I like to call the blue layer, and the last will be for my final renders. You can label them however you like based on your workflow. Next, you want to make sure that you set up some of your keyboard shortcuts. With any digital software, keyboard shortcuts is going to be a major time saver, and Clip Studio Paint is no different. For this particular setting, I want to make sure that I have the flip horizontal option readily available. And so during the drawing phase, I'm going to rely heavily on the flip horizontal option, as you just saw in my keyboard shortcuts, and it may be a little bit different for you. By simply hitting the F key on your keyboard, the image flips horizontal. I can quickly go back and forth in real time to see any errors in my drawing. It's very helpful because sometimes when you're drawing, especially when you've been looking at this white canvas for so long, your eyes tend to play tricks on your brain. My mind's playing tricks on me. I think there was a hip hop group who once said that. Anyway, now you are thinking everything is fine, and that may not be the case. So use the flip horizontal key. I will be using it throughout the drawing. This is just a technique to keep you honest. More importantly, it's going to keep you sharp during your drawing, because this can be a very long and draining process, but this is the price that you pay for your very best work. Now that we have set some conditions for today's drawing, let's get back into the sketch. Currently, I'm working in the sketch layer. I am going to go ahead, and my first step is just blocking in the shapes of the characters, staying as loose as I possibly can. No need to be zoomed in. We aren't concerned or overly concerned with details at this point, just building a thumbnail or getting the placement of all of the important parts of the scene. So based on today's topic, you're probably asking yourself, what the heck did Mac learn today? And here's what I've learned. And this applies to any and everything that we do, and drawing isn't the exception. Have a plan prior to starting a drawing. I can't stress the importance of planning enough. If there is one thing that you remember from this video, and that is my 6 P's. Prior planning prevents piss poor performance. So take the time to plan before you dive right into your next drawing. Another thing that you want to think about is that you don't want to overlook the importance of reference material. And listen, there isn't a single person who does art who doesn't use reference material. The greatest or the so-called masters use reference material. Whether it be a live model or pictures, they use them. Additionally, you want to approach your drawing just like you would a research paper. Usually you can find some really good reference materials off of just a simple Google search. Also, you can use sites such as DeviantArt, Pinterest, Envato, or some other places that you can get some really good references as well. So they're readily available to you, so it is my recommendation that you use those resources. If you are drawing a superhero like I am now, and you don't have a character reference sheet already done, this is just one of many things that you might want to think about. Other things that you might want to consider asking yourself: what kind of gear does your character have on? What are some of the textures in the clothes? Does the character carry a gun, knife, or sword? Where's the light source coming from? The intent is to gather as many reference photos as you possibly can, because this is only going to add more depth to your drawing. And here's the reality. When you are drawing an object that you have never drawn before, what can happen is you start to rely too much on your brain's interpretation of that object, which is great if you have drawn it many times before, or if you're Kim Jong-ji. But if you haven't already drawn that object before, essentially you're just kind of making it up as you go. So once you put the finishing touches on that final piece, some of those errors that you miss will really stick out, and people will really start to notice it. So once again, with reference materials, you want to make sure that you have them readily available. Right now, as I speak, I have everything that I need for this drawing on another screen. Lots of photos of military soldiers, because the character that I'm drawing now is military. Weaponry, war zones, color schemes, and also my trusty character reference sheet to keep me honest. But I am still working on the final look of this character, but you want to make sure that you have all of that stuff at your disposal. So what are some things that you can do to improve your drawings? For starters, incorporate some of the different techniques of some of your favorite artists today, and make it a habit to incorporate some of those things in your own work. If you don't, as an artist, you may become stagnant, fall back into that same old style that nobody gets. And as a illustrator, you want to get better, right? So pinch and pull any and everything that you can from those that are doing it on a big time level. And so that chicken scratch is starting to take shape. But here's the thing, even when you are doing all of that scribbling, you know, at that particular moment of the drawing, you're just focusing on making sure that you're getting the proportions right. The last thing that you want is to try and fix all of your wrong during the inking and the coloring stage. As we lower the opacity, think to about 40%. So I think that we are satisfied with that goobly goo, and now we can switch gears and go into our draw layer and start getting the most important parts into the sketch. We're going to move into my infamous blue layer. Make sure that the change color layer is clicked on. At this stage, our line work will still remain pretty rough, somewhat rough. None of the lines that we are going to draw are going to be committed as we continue to set the stage for our inks later. The pencil that I'm currently using is the Real pencil. I like this pencil because it feels pretty natural. Clip Studio Paint has a great mix of drawing tools. Dare I say, better than Illustrator and Photoshop? I think that's exactly what I said. But here's the deal. If you want me to do a versus tutorial with Clip Studio Paint versus Photoshop, make sure that you drop a comment below. So a little bit about me. Here's my story and I'm sticking with it. I've been drawing all of my life, always had dreams of one day hitting it big with some of the big comic companies, you know, DC and Marvel. I got a degree in computer graphics and went into the Army after graduating and completing the ROTC program. So the Army is all that I have known in all of my adult life. So what does that say about my art career? Well, I don't have an art career. I've literally taken 17 years off from drawing. So here we are, and you guys are here along for the ride. I decided to get back into drawing, learning this software and making YouTube videos. So you too can be a late bloomer. I hope that gives somebody here some inspiration that it's never too late. I'm over 40 and embracing the process of getting better every single day. Special shout out to all of the parents out there who have kids who love to make noise when you are on the phone or you are trying to record YouTube videos. I just wanted to put that out there. So if you hear some of the background chatter, that's just my kids. Anyway, back to our regular scheduled program. For those of you guys that are new to the channel, don't forget to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel.
Fly away, fly away, fly away with me. It's time to fly away, fly away. His blood set me free. It's time to fly away, fly away.
So I'm going to quickly clean up a few things that I think need a little bit more attention. I'm not going to go over everything, but correct as many things that needs to be fixed. Bottom line, the better the sketch, the better the inks are going to be in the end. That, my friend, means less time after the final sketch having to go back and fix errors once you are out of the sketch process. everything is looking good. I think we can wrap this up. So that's it for me today. As a reminder, I'm making new videos every week. Before we shut down shop, a couple of things you can do is subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, to let you know that new content is available. Secondly, you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Exit160 or Twitter at EnterExit160. I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Until next time, be sure to like, subscribe, and join the Exit 160 movement. Peace.